Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Wednesday, May 18th, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave a comment down below with what your baseball picks are for Wednesday's games. Now, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. I'm running a daily $15 MLB best bet, so check it out at Pick Dawgz Premium. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Wednesday, May 18th. First up, we see the New York Yankees taking on the Baltimore Orioles. Garrett Cole and Jordan Lyles are your starters here. Now, to me, Garrett Cole is pitching too well right now for me to think about taking the Orioles in this spot. Cole's last 4 outings, he's got at least 6 innings of work. The Yankees have won all 4 of those ball games. The strikeout numbers are up. He's coming off a start against the White Sox where he went 6 1/3, gave up 3 earned runs, but had 9 strikeouts and had a ton of run support. And the Yankees' bats are hot. They've been hot basically the entire season. It's why they have the best record in baseball right now. And to me, there's just nothing for me to want to take a shot with the dog in this spot. I know Jordan Lyles has fared better than what most people expected he would be this season with the Orioles. But last time out against a really weak Tigers lineup, he still got hit pretty hard. Gave up 4 earned runs, a home run, 3 walks in 5 2/3 innings, and that was a 4-2 Baltimore loss. I think the Yankees win this game, and I think they win it comfortably. So I'm going to lay the run line with the Bombers in this one. Next up, we see the Atlanta Braves taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Max Fried and Corbin Burnes are your starters for this one. Now, we saw the same exact pitching matchup back on May 7th between these two. It was a 3-2 Atlanta win in that one. Both pitchers did pitch well in that one, and I do think we're going to see another low-scoring game in this contest, but I do think the Brewers are going to get revenge in this spot against Fried. Fried, he struggled at the beginning of the season, then he really sharpened up and was pitching really well. Lately, he's been okay. Last time out, he got hit pretty hard. 6 innings, 9 hits, 4 earned runs, and a home run. And the home run ball has been a little bit of an issue for him lately. In his last 4 starts, he's given up at least 1 home run in each of those starts. His strikeout numbers are a little bit down lately. Nothing I would panic about, but the home run issue is something I would worry about. And I do think a Milwaukee team that is very, very powerful I think they're going to be able to exploit that in this spot. I know Burnes has had some issues with the long ball as well this season, but the Braves lineup has just been inconsistent this year. I think Milwaukee has the better lineup, the better starter, and the better bullpen, and they're playing at home, and they're playing way better ball right now. So give me the Brewers on the money line in this one. Next up, we see the Detroit Tigers taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Eduardo Rodriguez and Drew Rasmussen are your starters for this one. Now, I think there is some value with the Tigers in this spot, at least on the run line here. Eduardo Rodriguez, a guy that struggled at the beginning of the season, but has pitched really well down the stretch this year. He's coming off a shutout performance in 6 2/3 innings against the Orioles. He pitched really well against the Astros back on May the 7th, only gave up 1 earned run in 6 2/3 innings. The Rays are dealing with a plethora of injuries right now, pitching-wise and in the lineup. And overall, their offense is taking a hit because of it. I think this game's going to be a lower scoring overall, but Drew Rasmussen is not a guy that I'd like to lay this kind of price with, even at home and against a weak lineup. Rasmussen does have a strong ERA, but he has had issues at times with the long ball. His strikeout numbers are also down a bit, and if you're giving up a lot of hard contact and you're not missing bats, you can usually run into some issues. So I think this is going to be a 3-2, 4-3 kind of ball game. I think taking the 1.5 runs with Detroit is a smart decision, so I'll take the Tigers on the run line. In our next game, we see the San Francisco Giants taking on the Colorado Rockies at Coors Field. We're going to see Logan Webb and Kyle Freeland as your starters here. Now, the biggest thing at the beginning of the season that I noticed with the Giants lineup is that they struggled with left-handed pitching, facing left-handed pitching, but they've picked it up a lot as of late. They're actually now in the top 10 in team OPS against lefties, and they're in the top 5 in isolated power against lefties. And they face a lefty here in Freeland who really, really struggled last time out. 4 2/3 innings, he gave up 12 base hits, 8 total runs, 6 of those were earned, and 1 home run against the Kansas City Royals of all teams, one of the weakest lineups in baseball. Now you're facing the Giants, a team that's red hot offensively. Freeland has faced a lot of weak teams this season. His ERA is still above 4.5 at 4.91. Logan Webb has pitched well this season for the Giants. He's got a 5-1 record, and I know win-loss record means virtually nothing for starting pitching, but it tells me that his offense is going to war from him. And we've seen the Giants in the last 4 starts that Webb has had, the Giants scored 12 runs, 9 runs, 13 runs, 8 runs. I think they're going to score plenty in this one as well at Coors Field. Give me the Giants on the money line. Next up, we see the Minnesota Twins taking on the Oakland Athletics. Sonny Gray and Dalton Jeffries are your starters. Now, Dalton Jeffries, 1-6 with a 4.84 ERA. He has not been sharp this season. Only 23 strikeouts in 35 1/3 innings. And as of late, we've seen the home run ball be a bit of an issue for him. He's given up at least one homer in 3 of his last 4 starts. He's gone up against a pretty strong Minnesota Twins lineup, and Sonny Gray on the other side has pitched well for the Twins this season. Last time out, he wasn't the sharpest, but he also gave the Twins 4 1/3 innings of 8 strikeout, 2 earned run ball against a really good Guardians lineup, so they'll take that all day long. And in the previous start to that one, 4 innings of shutout baseball with 7 strikeouts against this Oakland A's lineup in a 1-0 Twins win. I think the offense backs them up a little bit more than they did in that game. I like the Minnesota Twins here on the money line. Next up, we see the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, these two teams will play in a doubleheader on Tuesday, but we'll see Buehler and Davies, Zach Davies and Walker Buehler on Wednesday. Walker Buehler coming off a rough start against the Phillies, but luckily for him, he faces a pretty weak lineup in this spot, a lineup that he dominated against back on April 25th, a 9-inning complete game shutout performance with no walks, only 3 hits allowed, 10 strikeouts in that one. I do think this is a big-time pitching mismatch going up against Zach Davies. I'll give him credit. He's looked good this season for the most part, but 28 strikeouts and 35 1/3 innings, that scares me against the Dodgers lineup. That's number 3 in baseball in isolated power against righties at home this season. The number 2 in baseball overall in team OPS against righties. I think they get to Davies. I think Buehler sharpens up for this one. I'll lay the run line with the Dodgers at home. Next up, we see the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Cleveland Guardians. Tyler Mahle and Cal Quantrill are your starters here. Now, it's not often that I'm going to fade the Guardians when they're facing a right-handed pitcher. We've mentioned before, time and time again, the Guardians love right-handed pitching. They crush it this year. Number 1 in baseball in team OPS against righties. But Tyler Mahle, although he has that 5.89 ERA, I still think he is the much better option on the mound in this contest against the Guardians, going up against Quantrill. And the biggest reason for that is away from home. We've seen in his career, Tyler Mahle has been pretty dreadful at Great American Ballpark, but on the road, he's fared well. We saw last time out on the road, he pitched a quality outing, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts against the Pirates, and that was an 8-2 Reds win. And Quantrill on the other side, that 3.93 ERA, I see it. It's not going to stay that low for much longer. You see, he's had big issues with the walks this season, and he's also not a lot of strikeouts this year. 20 Ks in 34 1/3 innings. That's not going to get it done. And I know the Reds offense, we've seen at times it's done well. At times we've seen them lose a ball game where they threw a no-hitter, but I still think they get it done here. I think they get enough run support from Mahle to win this game, and you're getting a good price here on the road with the plus money. So I'll take the Reds on the money line here, but not my favorite game on the board. Our next game, we see the Houston Astros taking on the Boston Red Sox. We're going to see Nick Pivetta and Luis Garcia as your starters for this one. Now, Nick Pivetta has pitched well in his last 2 outings. I'll give him credit. 13 innings in his last 2 games and only 1 earned run allowed to show for it. But he faced the Rangers and the White Sox, 2 teams that have really struggled against righties all season. The Astros are not one of those teams. They're 5th in baseball in team OPS against righties, 3rd in baseball in isolated power against righties, and the latter statistic really scares me for Pivetta in this one, as Pivetta's in the bottom 6th percentile in hard hit percentage and average exit velocity. That means he's very susceptible to the long ball, and if you've got a top 3 powerful team against righties this year and you're playing at a hitter-friendly ballpark like Fenway Park, is usually not going to be the best result. And Luis Garcia on the other side, not really a guy I can trust either. The strikeouts are there for him, 37 Ks in 33 2/3 innings, but the home run ball has really plagued him as of late. He's given up 5 home runs in his last 5 outings combined. And I do think the Red Sox, on offense, that's been pretty underwhelming this year. I still think they find some life in here, add some runs to the board. I think Houston does most of the scoring, but I like the over in the Red Sox Astros. Next up, we see the Washington Nationals taking on the Miami Marlins. Josiah Gray and Pablo Lopez are your starters. Now, I do think it is important for Josiah Gray to get these type of games going up against a really tough starter here in Pablo Lopez. These are the perfect games to develop your game. I think Gray has taken a lot of strides in the right direction this season in terms of developing. We saw him really struggle last year, and a lot of people saying, oh, is he the prospect that he was made out to be? And I still think he's got great stuff. I mean, you look, he's got 39 strikeouts in 37 1/3 innings. That's very, very sharp. The biggest issue for him has just been the home runs. I mean, man, he has given up a ton of long balls, 8 home runs this season already, and 5 of those came in his last 2 outings combined. And going up against Lopez, a guy that rarely makes a mistake. I mean, this year he's got a 1.05 ERA thus far, and he's already given him 43 innings of work, 46 strikeouts. He's 3rd in baseball in WHIP. He's number 1 in ERA. I think he pitches well here against the Nationals lineup that has struggled quite a bit. So give me the Marlins here on the money line. I think they take care of business at Lone Depot Park. In our next game, we see the San Diego Padres taking on the Philadelphia Phillies with Blake Snell and Zach Wheeler as your starters. Blake Snell making his season debut here. Now, he really wasn't the sharpest in 2021 with San Diego, his new team. A 4.2 ERA, a 1.32 WHIP for the former Cy Young winner in the American League at one point. And Snell, to me, is a pitcher I really don't want to back in his first start of the season. He's the type of guy that I think needs to get some work in early this season to really get going and to pitch where we've seen him. And we saw Zach Wheeler, who also started the season on the injured list, and he was able to make his debut only about a week after the season started, but he struggled quite a bit in that first outing, and we've seen him sharpen up as the season's carried on. But Snell, I do think this is a really tall order, especially going up against a guy like Zach Wheeler and a tough Phillies lineup on the road. Just a really bad spot for the Padres, in my opinion. So I'm going to take the Phillies here on the money line. In our next game, we see the Seattle Mariners taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Marco Gonzalez and Kevin Gausman are your starters. I think this is another pitching mismatch here. Gausman really strong for the Blue Jays this season. And he hasn't always had the run support from Toronto, especially as of late. The offense has struggled, but a 2.4 ERA, 54 Ks in 45 innings. He's yet to give up a home run. He's only given up 2 walks all season long. He's 14th in the American League in WHIP this season. And he's going up against Marco Gonzalez, a guy that I do worry about quite a bit in Toronto. You know, pretty hitter-friendly park, and he's a guy that gives up a lot of home runs. He didn't give up any last time out, but 8 on the season already conceded and 4 in his last 3 outings combined. I think the Blue Jays, I think this is a spot for their offense to break out a bit, and we see the Blue Jays as big favorites in this game. I think it's for a good reason. I'm going to take the Blue Jays on the run line here at home. The Cardinals are taking on the Mets here at Citi Field. Max Scherzer taking on Jordan Hicks here. And Max Scherzer, he struggled a little bit against the Phillies in the 2 outings that he saw them in the beginning of May. But last time out, we saw the same old Max Scherzer, 7 innings, 3 hits, only 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts against the Mariners. Now, his offense was not able to back him up in that game, but I do think they will in this spot against Jordan Hicks and the Cardinals bullpen. Jordan Hicks, an opener really for the Cardinals, doesn't really pitch too deep into ball games, maybe 4 or 5 innings at the most, but he's given up a consistent 2-3 runs. In his last 4 outings, he's given up at least 2 earned runs in the short time that he's pitched in. So not really what you want to see from an opener. His strikeout numbers are down a little bit this season. 21 Ks in 21 2/3 innings, not bad, but for a guy like Hicks that can hit triple digits on his fastball, you'd like to see that strikeout numbers rise, and the walks have also been a problem for him at times. Cardinals bullpen has also struggled quite a bit this season, and the offense for the St. Louis has been a lot better against lefties than they have been righties. I do think they struggle against Max Scherzer, which they already did earlier this season. Scherzer pitched 7 innings of shutout ball with 10 strikeouts against St. Louis. So give me the Mets here on the run line. I think the offense backs up Scherzer enough here to cover the run line. Next up, we see the Chicago Cubs hosting the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mitch Keller and Drew Smyly on the mound for this one. Now, I do think both of these pitchers are better than what their numbers on paper may suggest. Mitch Keller, I've been pretty critical of him in the past, and at times I don't really think he's a viable option in the rotation for Pittsburgh quite yet. But this season, I do think he is taking strides in the right direction. A 6.61 ERA doesn't look like it, but a 3.81 expected ERA, a 4.37 xFIP is not bad for a guy towards the end of the rotation. I do think, Keller's a guy that limits hard contact. He's in the top 67th percentile in average exit velocity, top 65th percentile in hard hit percentage. He's got good velocity on his fastball and has good movement as well. I think he pitches well here at Wrigley Field. I think it sets him up nicely. But Drew Smyly, another guy, he's a pitch-to-contact guy. He doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, but he hasn't given up much hard contact this season either. So I don't really let that 1-4 record fool me. He's got a 3.64 ERA this season for a reason, and I think against the Pirates lineup that's been pretty bad against lefties this season, I think he goes out and has a decent outing himself. So I like the under, at least in the first 5 innings of this one. Don't really trust these bullpens here, but I do think this game starts out low scoring. Next up, we see the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Texas Rangers. Shohei Ohtani and Dane Dunning are your starters for this one. And I got to admit, I was a little bit surprised to see the price of this money line at where it is. I think Shohei Ohtani deserves a little bit more than a minus 145 price. I'd put this game around minus 160 or more. So it does kind of make me think, is this kind of a trap spot? But, to me, Ohtani's just pitching too good for me to pass him up at this kind of price. I mean, Ohtani this season has struggled a little bit offensively. He hasn't been, definitely not putting up the numbers we saw from him last year in that MVP season. But pitching-wise, he has been super sharp this season for the Angels. He's really taken the next step in his pitching development in the majors, a 2.78 ERA, 46 strikeouts this season, and only 32 in the third innings of work. Dane Dunning has been pretty good for a pretty weak Rangers rotation, but is he that good to go up against Shohei Ohtani in this spot? I'm not sure. 4.06 ERA, coming off a start where he gave up 5 earned runs against the Red Sox in 5 2/3 innings. To me, this is a game I'm probably going to stay away from, but I'm going to take the Angels here on the money line just based on value alone. I think we're getting a really good price with a much better starter. And in our final game of the night, we see the Chicago White Sox taking on the Kansas City Royals. Now, we could see a pitching change in this one as we don't have an official line out yet for this game, but on paper right now, we see Vince Velasquez and Zach Greinke as your starters. And I kind of smile because these are two guys that I've faded all season long, and now they're going right at it against each other in this spot. And I gotta have to take the over here. I really can't trust either of these starters. I do think the White Sox lineup is a lot stronger than Kansas City's, but Vince Velasquez last time out, he looked like a guy that the White Sox really needed him to get some innings, but it didn't look like he really wanted to be out there much longer. He gave up 7 earned runs, 8 base hits, and 3 homers against the Yankees in a 10-4 blowout loss. I think the Royals get to him, but on the other side, Zach Greinke, he has a 3.52 ERA. I know that's the case, but don't think it's going to last long. The strikeout numbers have picked it up a bit for Greinke as of late. I will give him that, but he's given up 18 base hits in his last 10 1/3 innings, 7 runs total, 7 earned runs. He's given up 9 runs total. I do think the White Sox, a lineup that has yet to really get things going, I do think they get to Greinke in this spot. So give me the over in the Velasquez-Greinke battle. I think this is going to be a high-scoring contest. And that's it. Those are the games for Wednesday, May 18th. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to put your picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.